Should we double check that they can hear us? Are you able to hear us, Zoom?
We can hear
Yes.
you, and it said that you're being recorded.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Hear it. Okay, thank you.
Doesn't voice it, sort of.
Thank you.
On the Tuesday, December 17th, 2024, regular meeting of Southwest Hills County Fire District's Board of Commissioners to order. Time is 7:02 p.m. Please note we're conducting a hybrid meeting which allows staff and members of the public to attend this meeting via virtual teleconference. This hybrid meeting will be video recorded and posted on the district website. Because we are video conferencing, we will follow a strict protocol for the benefit of the recording. I will indicate when commissioners, staff, presenters, and the public will provide comments. If you've called into this meeting and are not using webcam, please state your name prior to providing your comments for the benefit of the recording. Please practice considered video conferencing etiquette. That goes for us here as well, by muting your line when you're not speaking and limiting distracted behavior on camera. Mr. Vargas, please conduct the roll call.
Okay, Commissioners, I will be conducting all roll calls this evening in the same order. Please remember the order so you are prepared to provide your comments or vote. President Spree.
Here.
Vice President Sherlock. Commissioner Basigi. Commissioner McDonald.
Here.
Commissioner Tonka.
Yeah.
Commissioner Tyson.
Here.
Commissioner Warren.
Here.
We have 5 commissioners present, which is a quorum. And for the benefit of the recording, I will also conduct a presenters, consultants, and staff roll call. Santa Clara County Fire Department Assistant Fire Chief Glass.
Good evening, President.
Great, thank you. Okay, Santa Clara County Fire Safe Council CEO Shallot. I can see lips moving, but I didn't hear. He's present though.
Present and good evening.
Thank you. We have also Santa Clara County Fire Safe Council Project Manager Ortiz.
Present.
Thank you. And the Municipal Resource Group, Human Resources and Strategic Planning Consultant Scott.
Here.
Fire and Loretta Engineering Consultant Tarantino.
Here.
Community Education Risk Reduction Manager Blueham.
Good evening here.
Emergency Services Manager Beebe.
Present.
And Technical Analyst Project Manager Cronin.
Present. Good evening.
Field Manager Harmon.
Hello, everyone. I'm here.
Okay. General Analyst Georgie.
Present.
Okay. Technical Data Analyst Martinez.
Present.
Community Events Specialist Sashiva.
Good evening, present.
I ruined your last name again. I just know I did. Came out of my mouth. I knew it. Project Manager Administration Revelar.
Present.
Finance Manager Moriali.
Present.
General Manager Logan.
Present.
Deputy County Counsel Jackson.
Present.
Okay, presenters, consultants, and staff are accounted for.
Thank you very much. We move on to item 2, Commission President remarks. Just a couple things. First, thanks to the staff for doing a quick change in terms of infrastructure. Getting an idea. It's actually nice being cozy in this room. A little different from before, but thank you.
Might be of old times.
It
Yeah,
really does.
yeah.
It does, isn't it? And so I appreciate how effortlessly this has been brought up, given that we got moved out of the big room there. Second, just a quick reminder that last month was very report heavy because it was semi-annual reports, and those that just remind everyone that this month many of the reports are in the packet, so please make sure you do take a look at that if you haven't already. And one thing that will probably get called out later, but for those who don't stick around for the entire meeting, I want to call out that this is National Preparedness Month, and so there are quite a few number of events going on. So please take a look at our website or any other information to find out all the events going on. Just wanted to call that out. But that's it. Okay, moving on to item 3, public comment. Persons wishing to address the commission on any subject not on the agenda may do so now. Please note, however, the commission is not able to undertake extended discussion or action tonight on items not on the agenda. Items may be referred to staff for appropriate action, which may include placing on the next available agenda. District policy is to limit public testimony to 3 minutes per speaker, unless the number of speakers requires you to impose shorter time limits, so they would be the case. Do we have any public comment on items not on the agenda?
No, I do not see any public comment.
Anything online?
No.
Great. And in that case, we move to item 4, agenda amendments and changes. Any comments from staff on amendments or changes to the order? Seeing none, any commissioners like to change anything? Sounds great. In that case, we will move on to item 5, the consent calendar. Any comments from staff on consent calendar items? Hearing none. Any questions from Commissioner on any of these items? Well, I'm seconding it, okay. I will entertain a motion. The Commissioner making the motion and the Commissioner seconding the motion, please state their names for the benefit of the recording.
Warren moves to adopt the consent calendar as agenda.
Tyson second. Thank you. Items open for discussion. Any discussion here? Seeing none. Any public comment on the consent items?
I'm not seeing any.
Okay, that's it. We will now vote. If it's regarded, please mark the roll call.
President Screen,
Yes.
Commissioner McDonald.
I believe, do I need to abstain because I was absent?
If,
from
would
three
you like
last-
to abstain just on the minutes?
Correct.
Which would be
Yeah,
five A.
yes,
Okay,
thank you.
okay. So, yeah, so
And then affirmative on.
on everything else,
Yeah.
okay. And Tonka, same thing to abstain on five A, but yes, and everything else. And then Commissioner Tyson?
Yes, and they're very nice reports. I gotta sneak that in because I missed it when you asked it.
And Commissioner Warren?
Yes.
All right, so we've got the motion passing 5-0 with two absent
Yep.
and two abstaining on five A only.
Thank you very much. Moving on to item 6, National Preparedness Month and Santa Clara County Community Preparedness Month presentation. Now, this will be Community Event Specialist Sachdeva, I may have garbled that as well. But she will be presenting this item. I think this is her first time being a solo presenter here in front of the commission.
Yes, it is. And thank you. Good evening, everyone. So as we're well into September, I wanted to highlight how the Los Altos Hills County Fire District is supporting National Preparedness Month and continuing our efforts to promote emergency readiness. This year's theme is Start a Conversation, and it encourages discussions about preparedness within our home and within our communities. Our district is already engaged in many initiatives that align with this campaign, and which we've showcased in our recent newsletter. And so some key areas that we focused on are educational outreach and community events, together with the Santa Clara County Fire Department and the town of Los Altos Hills. We are offering various community events like online emergency preparedness trainings, the Touch a Truck community event, and our Public Safety Day. These activities provide residents with hands-on learning about fire prevention, disaster response, and home safety while promoting our fire district's programs. We're also promoting Alert SEC. It's a continuing effort to encourage our residents to sign up for Alert SEC, ensuring that they receive critical emergency alerts for wildfires, earthquakes, and other disasters. And family preparedness. Our district remains focused on educating the community about creating family evacuation plans and preparing go bags. These proactive steps are crucial during a crisis, and National Preparedness Month is the perfect time to reinforce these messages. We encourage everyone to continue observing National Preparedness Month by participating in our events, promoting our safety programs, and staying engaged with the community. Together, we can ensure our residents are well prepared to handle emergencies with confidence. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any discussion or questions? Any public questions or comments?
Not seeing any?
Great, well, thank you very much then. Moving on to item 7, the fire chief report. I believe this will be the month report for August for 7A, and 7B is the August report for Station 8 being given by Assistant Fire Chief Glass.
All right, good evening, everybody. Good evening, President Spring, commissioners, members of the public and staff. Brian Glass, Santa Clara County Fire. Just making sure that you can see my screen as I pull it up.
Mhm. Yep.
All right, well, as we take a look, incident count by year, starting out for 2024, we're right on target, 656 calls, a little bit ahead of where we were last year. As you can see, the steady increase since COVID, we're picking back up to normal. Month of August, not as busy as July and June. Again, that's the decrease in heat that we saw. So you see the numbers fall off a little bit. Response time's a little bit higher than normal, but still within the range. You see that Engine 75 responded to 9 responses in El Monte's area. A little bit farther response time coming out of the city of Los Altos into Los Altos Hills. But again, Rescue 74's times are under the mark there at 7 minutes. We did have some rural density calls that, challenged us a little bit, for Rescue 74. We had 20 calls in the rural area, but still we're shooting for 1159 in that area. So those are overall pretty good calls. One thing I'd like to point out here is 0 fires within the fire district for the month. Again, I'll pull up the map down below here. And you can see the bright red dots that are located here where my cursor is. This is in the town of Los Altos, city of Los Altos, excuse me. Los Altos Hills, we had no fires. A lot of fire alarms, a lot of medical calls, and our service calls were on track. But with that, I'll end the report. Take any questions for the month of August.
Hi, Chief Glass. Toby McDonald, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
When the El Monte station goes out of district for training or for maintenance, is there a move up and cover assignment that goes up to that station? And likewise for either Los Altos Station or Loyola, because I know, because we're at the north end of the county, so we just have the 3 station coverage. So is there a move up and cover to protect us while they are, doing mandatory, federal training and state training and whatnot?
No, it's a great question, Commissioner O'Donnell. I really appreciate that. Yes, El Monte is a must-cover station, so we call that a core fire station. So anytime that we have a vacancy greater than 20 minutes, we'll move a company up to cover to make sure Los Altos Hills is protected. We also have Los Altos as a core station, so you'll always have those 2 units. We will pull 76 sometimes to cover. We'll also bring engine 71 out of Cupertino, and that's the primary move up. Occasionally, you'll see in the reports engine 72 or engine 73. The way that works is when we have a structure fire response, we'll launch all of the units to the response, but let's say we get there and we downgrade it, we'll then take one of those units that was responding to the structure fire and have them cover. Hopefully that answers the question as presented.
Yes, thank you, Chief Glass. Appreciate it.
That's very interesting. Any other questions? Any public questions?
Not seeing any.
Great, you can proceed.
Okay, I'll move in on to the Palo Alto report. This is August of 2024. So this was the responsibility of the Palo Alto Fire Department to cover Station 8. And as reported from Chief McNally, they responded to 2 vehicle accidents, 1 EMS call, 1 good intent, and 2 canceled en route, for a total of 6 responses for the unit assigned to Palo Alto Station 8. Happy to take any questions, although I do have limited information on the types or the nature of those calls outside of what was reported by Palo Alto.
Okay. Any questions, comments here?
What defines good intent?
Good intent will be somebody thought they saw an emergency. Perhaps it was a motor vehicle accident, but then the person drove off. So where it was a good intent activation of the 911 system, but no emergency was found.
Thank you.
Yeah, and just a quick overview, really quick, of what's going on with the fires throughout the state of California. Again, this is current status of resources deployed from the operational area. Again, that's all of Santa Clara County. Again, the 3-letter identifiers indicate the agency that is deployed. So you see Milpitas, Gilroy, San Jose, Spring Valley, Santa Clara City. Of course, CNT is Santa Clara County Fire in partnership with Los Altos Hills County Fire District. Currently, we have 26 employees deployed to 2 or 3 different fires. One is on the airport, and the remaining 20 or so are deployed here to the bridge fire in the Angeles National Forest. They've been out for almost 2 weeks, and this is their 3rd or 4th 2-week deployment this fire season. So again, just highlighting the participation in the joint effort in the not only local mutual aid system, but the state mutual aid system. So just wanted to point this out. There are over 76 firefighters deployed from Santa Clara County, and 26 of those from the agencies that Los Altos Hills County Fire District supports through Central Fire District. So again, just wanted to highlight that for the commissioners, just to know that the work that you're doing is having benefits right now down in the Angeles National Forest, protecting those citizens down there with our resources and the commitments from both of our agencies. Go ahead. Sorry.
Please proceed. Yeah.
One thing that developed today, I just wanted to point this out to the commissioners that, as the California roads are in disrepair, this was one of our truck companies that was responding to a call today, went over a bump in one of the streets in Cupertino and suffered this damage to the drive and steering axle in the front of the unit. I did have to reach out to the general manager today and request permission to take truck 74, the cross-staffed unit at El Monte, and move it to Cupertino, because we have 2 of our 4 truck companies that are damaged just due to regular wear and tear, if you will. And it just goes to show the importance about replacing the apparatus on a timely schedule. And I know the commission has been very supportive of replacing truck 74 and appreciate the use of it. I just want to assure the commission that there should be no degradation of service. Again, if we have a structure fire in the Los Altos Hills area, you will receive the truck from Cupertino on the initial alarm assignment. And we have strong relationships with local mutual aid from our partners at both Palo Alto and the city of Mountain View. All of our battalion chiefs have been briefed on the situation, and we have a plan in place. We estimate about 2 weeks, no more than 2 weeks, to source the parts and replace the truck and get the truck 74 back to El Monte Station. The crews will still be there. They will be responding in the rescue that is assigned there, Rescue 74. So there's no loss in service, and we are staffing that station as per the contract and normal. So again, happy to take any questions on this, and really appreciate the support from the general manager on allowing us to move that truck for operational need.
Please.
Chief Glass, appreciate the sharing the information on the mutual aid responses, Southern California. That question actually comes up quite a bit from friends and neighbors curious about how the fire department and the fire district are responding to the statewide emergency. So that's actually really useful. And so thank you.
Yeah, appreciate that, Commissioner Warren. Again, I'm going to just show you quickly the bridge fire, where it's located, kind of where it's burning. You can kind of see 54,000 acres. So this is no small task for these firefighters that are down there. And again, really appreciate the support of Los Altos Hills County Fire District, as we're able to send firefighters down there with your help and support. So thank you very much.
Any other comments? No, I agree. I'm very interested to hear how we're collaborating both locally, regionally, and statewide. It's really important for us to hear, and I really appreciate the information. It's very helpful
And just one more thing, going back to our support of purchasing 2 more fire engines. When I was working, we had a fire engine on Highway 101 at an accident that was struck by a truck and totaled and pushed across the freeway. And that's 2 years minimum before you're going to get a new replacement. So it's very important how proactive we are in replacing the fire apparatus. So, yeah.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Do not see any.
Great. Okay, so thank you very much, Chief Glass. Oh, wait, we have another comment.
What's the lifetime of the fire apparatus?
Great question, Commissioner Tanaka. So fire engines, Tonka, sorry. Spitting out my words here, my apologies. The life cycle of a fire engine is 10 years or approximately 100,000 miles. 12 years is what we typically shoot for, because it does take a long time once you order them to replace them. So at the 10-year mark, we start looking to replace them. Then it's about 2 years of delivery. So we get about 12 years frontline, and then another 8 to 10 years in reserve status. Our truck companies, we tend to try to push them a little bit longer, but we reduce the mileage just because they're so heavy running around. The roads beat them up really bad, as you saw in that picture. It breaks welds, and it just really takes its toll on them. So again, we have a policy 500 is our apparatus replacement policy. Happy to share that with the commission if you like. But this is part of doing business, is running these heavy vehicles up and down the roads, and they need to be replaced. And they're just taking so long to build, and they're very expensive to replace. So.
Thank you.
Any other questions? You're all interesting. Okay, in that case, seeing no public comments, we will move on. Thank you, Chief Glass. Really appreciate you being here.
Thank you all.
Moving on to item 8, report on the district organizational planning meeting and work plans. General Manager Logan and Human Resources and Strategic Planning Consultant Scott and Finance Manager Morale will be providing these reports.
Thank you very much. I will kick the conversation off. Thank you. President Spreen, commissioners, staff, consultants, and public. We have a slide presentation that summarizes the many dimensions of the organizational planning session number 3 and the development and completion of the 23-24 work plan V2. And Corey, could you load that please for me? Okay. And so what we're going to do is go through this slide presentation, and I'll start off with providing an overview of the memorandum report that was in the packet. And if you noticed on item 8, there were a number of documents in the packet to support this.
That's what you wanted to see? No. I heard you say show V2, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. The staff memorandum report, the one that, the PowerPoint that we were circulating today. There we go. Okay, so this staff memorandum report is going to be a conversation about a cadence, our organizational planning session, strategic analysis, and work plan V2, which we'll see at the end of the presentation. So I want to just mention the word cadence because I use that a lot with staff, and I just got on the website and took a look and say, what is a cadence? Just make sure I was using it properly. And it just fit perfectly because it says a regular and repeated pattern of activity. Okay, understand that. And then to explain that, there was this item, and it says, in addition to our weekly cadence, we take a step back once a quarter and think about our platform a little more strategically. And I think, did I write that? No, I didn't write that. This other fellow wrote it. And I, gave him the credit and who he is. But that's what we're doing here in the fire district. So item 8, the report and presentation, I'll do the background. I'll talk about cadence, close of the 23-year work plan V1, identified gaps, and then the work plan V2. That I'll mention that. And then I'm going to hand it over to Marcy Scott. And Marcy will talk to you about organizational planning session number 3, the highlights. And then she will pitch it over to Russ Moriali, and he will talk about the V2 presentation. So that's the way in which we're going to handle this discussion. And next slide, please, Corey. Let's take a look at cadence. The first series of events that occurred in 2023, when we first started adding staff after approval of the June budget, so it kind of starts with the budget, is the commission turned to me and they said, we want to better understand what employees do. And so that ponder in my mind, what we did is we set up in August the first all-day organizational planning session. And we brought the staff together. And during that time, there was also formed an ad hoc organizational planning subcommittee. And the subcommittee helped the planning team by providing insights and perspectives. And I will tell you, I still use those insights and perspectives today as we build through these cadences. And now we're into work plan 2. This was followed by the August organizational planning session, where we defined 8 service areas were identified and organized. And then we developed our first work plan. The ad hoc committee assisted us. And then in August of 23, we did the semi-annual reports. In October of 23, we did our work plan number 1 and presented that to the commission as an information item. Then in February, we had the service area managers meet and present their next set of semi-annual reports. So the semi-annual reports are about a month or 2 after the time period has elapsed. So I've marked those time periods for you. And then in March, we went into organizational planning session number 2. So now the next slide takes us to the cadence, and you'll see how this cadence works. It starts with the budget that kicks us off. And then in August of 24, which just occurred, you heard our semi-annual reports. Remind you, those were 2.5 hours of metrics, measurements, and discussion. It was quite exciting to be here last month. Wish we were still doing that, but it was a very exciting time just a month ago. And then in September of 24, we did our organizational, or excuse me, that's August of 24, we did the semi-annuals, and then followed it 3 days later. I think the staff's not forgiven me yet, with the organizational planning session number 3. That then prompted what we're doing tonight, which is the work plan V2. So think about the compression that's occurring right in that time span. Then we're looking forward to February of 25, the semi-annual reports, which will be the July through December of 24. And then March 25, we'll do the organizational planning session number 4. Okay, so you see the cadence broken there, and then the cadence again starts, and now we know what our future looks like. We'll have the budget adopted in June of 25, and we'll start working on that probably next month, according to the agenda with the budget ad hoc committee. And then we'll move in August of 25 to the semi-annual reports, then the organizational planning session number 5. In September, we'll have a work plan to deliver to you, which will be V3. And then February of 26, annual reports, and March of 26, organizational planning session number 6. So I guess that's an answer to what are the employees doing and how are they guiding their mission and how are they guiding their tasks. So this sequence is a cadence of, again, the kickoff of the June budget, and then it flows from there. Okay, and then we grafted that for you into what I call our cadence wheel. And when we talked about how weed abatement works, that gave us a good model of then talking about processes. So here's your cadence wheel that starts with the adoption of the budget, which funds all the initiatives for the district. So I'm going to kind of stop there. Any questions about any of that? It makes sense as it's seen from an organizational perspective. This is how we kind of step back and look at our strategic initiatives, but then get right back into our work plans. Okay, so the next slide. What was very interesting is when we did our semi-annual reports and then started working on our work plans, we started getting into a lot of strategic analysis. So that occurred with the closure of work plan version 1. And the service area managers identified their key accomplishments for 2023, and the service area managers identified their key targets for 2024. And I'm going to there's a hyperlink there that will take you to that.
In theory.
Sorry.
Yeah.
All those lead back to Brian Glass.
Everything comes back to Brian Glass.
Yeah. That's right.
So there we go. Can you switch that? So, and the first one up is chapter 1. We have 8 chapters in the work plan. So chapter 1, if you'll notice how it's organized, the service area managers populated this, and they looked at what are their major initiatives completed or in progress. And you'll see that they have that listed, and then they all have the same topics: then regionalization, partner relationships, guiding mission documents, and lessons learned and resource gaps. And those were the 2 prongs I was interested in, because that's where we start to get into gap analysis. And then if you scroll up to then chapter 1, then talks about what's their key targets for 24-25. And here you'll see that chapter 1 listed the high-level key initiative targets, the resources that are available and not available. Again, we're getting into gap analysis. So each of the service areas did that. Next service area, chapter 2, fire and emergency medical services. Again, the same template, key initiatives, lessons learned, resource gaps. And then the next is the initiative targets. And here, high-level initiative target, we're talking about collaboration of a new fire facility, fire emergency access, road maintenance. You can read, you can read these. They're very high-level strategic comments. And then resources available and needed but not available. Going on to chapter 3, I'm not going to go through all of these because this document is in the agenda 8, so you can pull it up and look at it. But you may go, well, what does this relate to? But now you've got some context for how we're using that. Any questions there? I'll just go on to the next slide, okay? But you can see the thoroughness, I think, is what I'm showing to this. Okay. Thank you, Corey. We're back on track now.
Going back to the slideshow.
We're going back to the slideshow. And I'm on slide 5, which is the strategic analysis. We just did the first bullet, the closure of the work plan. So we closed work plan 23. Thank you very much. Put it on the shelf. And now we're off and running for the next venture. One goal was to identify gaps that hinder the delivery of the work plan objectives and district operations. So as you know, when you have high-performing teams, and I have these service area managers looking at me, I'm interested in what their gaps are, what they need so they can get their job done, because they know how best to do their jobs. And that's what I see as my value add to the organization. And so once we identify these gaps, which is the focus of our 24-25 work plan V2, then we have to identify what are the actions and solutions that will be in progress during the fiscal year. That's what our budget's going to provide for us. So the team ended the analysis of work plan 23, and this illuminated their key targets and services for 24-25 to become part of the plan. And it was a strategic approach engaged before the work plan spreadsheets were put together. So that avoids just getting into a list of activities. And so then let's take a quick look. And here are the gaps that we identified. So the first gap is the staffing gap. And action and can be taken about staffing gaps is temporary and regular positions we have available. Those are in the budget. And as applicants become available, then we can start filling those staffing gaps. And you've seen that dramatically last month with the staffing gap that we recognized we had in the finance and IT department, bringing in a temporary individual who could fill in on that because we're into audit, we're into all of our budget, we're starting our new budget, we're into work plans, and we have one FTE, a half a person and a half a person. That's all we have in finance. So that temporary position coming in helps shore that lift. And then tonight, we've got another person on for a personnel appointment as a temporary in risk reduction. And in the whole Firewise community of all that program that we have one half-time employee. And then we have a couple other employees that help fill in, and that will assist in that area of project specialist, project manager in risk reduction. So that's the way in which we cobble together our temporary and our available positions. If those positions work out, or if someone comes in and they're available and they fit those criteria of the staffing, the regular positions we have, then we'll be ready to go to fill those positions. In the meantime, we have consultants and vendors, resources that can address staffing gaps. And it was said to me by the person sitting next to me, I wrote it down, put it in bold, that the district has the technical expertise, but lacks the staffing to support the technical implementation. And that's the gap we're trying to fill in staffing. Okay, next staffing gap, now funded. Now we need a viable implementation plan and resources for the I-280 project. And I look at Mark Warren because that's what he's going to want to hear. So that was a gap, it's funded. We couldn't do anything until, yes, because guess what? Cal OES didn't come through for us. We tried. Then we go into, okay, we can do this. Let's put it in our budget. It wasn't funded until July 1. Okay, we can't sit on our hands. Now we've got to move. So in the meantime, what we did is the staff looked at the various things we need to do to get this I-280 up and running. Another gap is we know that we are going to have growth in the Los Altos Hills population. It's anticipated by the housing element targets. We can all read the newspaper and read what's going on within our local community to know that. And that produces gaps, anticipated gaps in providing fire safety, emergency and medical service and disaster protection. So that gives us the opportunity to assess our district parcel for a fire facility and also again to look at apparatuses. It seems like we just can't keep up with that need. So there's a gap there. Another gap is professional development. The commission pointed that out to me in our last conversation. And so we're putting together now a roadmap for the district's professional development and individual professional development plans for each of our employees. So they can start identifying what their strengths are, increase those strengths, and also look at their executive leadership. And I want all of them to become the executive leaders that I saw last month when they stood up and they delivered 2.5 hours of semi-annual reports to you. That was executive leadership. And to do that, we're going to build those executive leadership skills. So that's the hope for that gap around professional development. And we do have a consultant that's been lined up who can come in and help us with that. So again, I'm talking about actions and solutions there. Another is expanding local and regional partnerships. Heard Assistant Chief Glass talk very eloquently about that, but that's just something we're constantly working on, is expanding there. Investing in technology, We've got to have the technology as we're bringing it in as quickly as we can, getting it up and running, from payroll to our benefits plan, to portals, to a new website, to all of those kinds of things that we need to do. And then vehicles. It is hard to purchase a vehicle. I've been trying for a couple of years now. So definitely a vehicle gap has been in our past. So vehicle and large goods and services procurement gaps. As we get into these large plans, when it's I-280 and when it's fire facilities, we're going to have some large purchases. So we need to talk about those gaps. But all these are good. These are all good opportunities that we have, and they're flushed out in the work plan. Okay, now I'm going to transition, because you've been very kind, to the photo collage. And this was in the packet, but Corey, can you just put that up? Because this will transition nicely over to Marcy. I'll pitch you the tennis ball here, Marcy, and just say that this was our organizational session number 3 that we held on August the 23rd.
Yeah.
And you'll see that there's a lot of bounty. The staff came up with a theme of bounty. And they said, we're very bountiful. We have bountiful work. And guess what? We have bountiful gardens. So this is the harvesting from their gardens,
Oh, wow.
you know, their view of the earth and how we protect the earth and we protect our environment. And those of us that didn't exactly have gardens knew where we could find markets. And so we contributed much to this. And you'll see the grins on their face and the bounty that we were celebrating in our work that day. So next slide. This is the agenda. It's very ambitious. It's in your packet again with the photo collage. Kind of sets the tone for Marcy. She's going to talk us through some of this. And then the next slide. Here's what our objectives were and how hard we were working. We were at the Neutra House in the city of Los Altos, right next to the community center. And next slide. And if you'll notice those 2 pictures, our service area managers are talking to a screen, and on the screen is the deputy county executive for the county of Santa Clara, number 2 in command, 23,000 employees, $12 billion budget, spending time with us. Very profound. Sorry, I had to say that. Next slide. And here is our bounty. We did this at lunch, and I think it's beautifully said. Produce grown or gathered by the LAHCFD team, and then a bountiful path. Do not measure success by today's harvest. Measure success by the seeds you plant today. So hopefully all of these work plans are the seeds that will flourish and grow and give us the protection that we need. So with that, Marcy, thank you.
Great. Thank you, Jay. Okay. So my part will just be to briefly highlight a couple parts of the agenda so you understand how we spend our time and why we were doing those things. So the next slide. I wanted to speak for a moment about the creativity of this group. On the left picture, it's a little hard to see, but you will see the new district mascot, Gracie. And your staff are not only creative, but artistically gifted to develop a variety of graphic designs to feature Gracie in various capacities. So you'll be seeing more of Gracie soon. And it's just really cute. And then on the right side is, as Jay has so nicely described, these are things grown in employees' gardens. And this creative group came up with the theme of Share the Bounty, highlighting this planning session is about sharing information, but also about sharing homegrown fruits and vegetables, baked goods, and other delicious contributions. And as Jay described, the lunch break included a bountiful market that will compete with any farmer's market around. And the day included such creativity and a feeling of gratitude for the generosity of each other and opportunity to contribute to the important work of the district. So next slide. So we began the planning session with the foundational documents, and I know you see these pictures a lot in the presentations, and you will continue seeing these tonight, but we reference these a lot because they are so important and they're crucial to our work in many capacities. And the strategic plan on the left is the vision of where the district is headed. This was developed with an ad hoc committee of the commission, and we used some of our session time on the 23rd to review the table of goals and update it. So you'll be seeing a refresh soon that's more in line with where we are right now. The community wildfire protection plan, Annex 4 and addendum provide the fire science, supporting and informing the programs and projects of the district. And then the chart of services is the detailed operational chart. And all of these things support the mission statement in various capacities. And what we were emphasizing to staff is that they all contribute to the chart of services, to the strategic plan, and ultimately to the mission. And each of the staff perform meaningful work, and it's important that the employees see their work as meaningful. And next slide. Key discussion items here included spending a little time increasing knowledge of our colleagues. And this was in small groups and the whole group presentation. This type of exercise is important because it supports trust and collaboration, both of which are components of high-performing teams. And especially since the district doesn't have a regular physical office space, using some time in these sessions is really valuable just to get to know one another a little better. Also, we talked about staff working as individual contributors and strategic thinkers, and both of those functions are really important. Staff here have their lanes that they work in, their technical work, but they also shift to thinking about how to partner regionally to expand our impact. For example, as you've seen, staff are very good at executing evacuation route projects, but now looking at how these projects ultimately will link up with Highway 35 and the work that's being done there, and making a broad regional evacuation route increases our impact exponentially. And then the third element that I want to highlight that Jay mentioned was the collaboration with the county. We were privileged to have some time with the county's deputy executive who oversees fire services, and our service area manager spent Tuesday night presenting 2.5 hours of material to you in great detail. And by Friday, they presented 7 minutes to the county executive. So they brought out just really key elements, and then they engaged in Q&A. And these are executive skill sets, like as a general manager is mentioning, to be able to make that pivot is really important given all the different communities we interact with and discuss with. And that's also part of individuals being able to develop their own professional development plan and see what kinds of skill sets like those they like to work on in the next year. And then the last slide, the largest chunk of our time at the planning session was devoted to a workshop on these work plans, as Jay has mentioned. And again, just to emphasize, the cadence that is working now over the course of the year really helps us figure out how to use the budget, the work that we're doing to inform these new work plans and to update them. And also pointing out that this workshop incorporated continuous learning. As you saw on that slide, there were lessons learned. And you've seen in the chipping program how it keeps being improved because we're out there talking to our customers. They're giving us input. We're looking at how work gets done and how to do it more efficiently and better. And ultimately, looking at what are these gaps we need to anticipate, what are solutions, and that's going to inform the budget process that we're getting ready to move into. So all of this is a cycle, and it helps employees anticipate what are we working on now, what are we looking at in the future, and how are these lessons informing what we're doing. So with that,
I will pitch it to Russ. We just get maybe some time, get some feedback from the commission before we go into.
Yeah,
Russ, if you could just wait for a moment. Any comments or on this process that we've gone through?
No, sounds very thorough. I only regret I wasn't invited because I have lots of produce I could have shared.
Oh.
We'll keep that in mind.
It's quite a lot you guys covered.
It was delicious, I will say. I went right home and
I mean, you guys covered a lot of information.
Did you feel like there were any surprises in terms of what you kind of the new work plan? Was it significantly different than last year's? Was it more aggressive? Did you find there's stuff, did they feel the work plans had been on target with what had actually been done? What was the general feeling of how the work plans are coinciding with what everyone's doing?
having 1 year of experience made it much easier this year. The meeting a year ago was quite a bit harder because we were getting the template sorted. So now we have experience with that template and looking at it. I think now we're learning how to use that tool. So it was easier. I think it's still, we're still shifting between task-oriented things and then looking at the big picture and the year forward. But I think the staff does a really great job with that. And I would say also our second planning session wasn't, it packed way too much in. We had slideshow after slideshow, boom, 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 and the employees were exhausted at the end. So we do a survey and they let us know, don't do that again. So I think we did a much better balance. We were able to really focus at that point, even though it was the last session in the afternoon. I think we had a really good discussion on the work plans, and everybody presents on theirs and everybody has a chance to talk and give input and ask questions. So it's kind of a group effort as well. So that's my take on it. I don't know if anybody else, you want to comment?
Yeah, I thought
Victoria?
it was really good. Very team building this time. We spent a lot of time having ability to talk about things, especially like the strategic plan and also the chart of services. But there was a lot of input from a lot of the new people too, which was really nice, I thought. But yeah, rave reviews.
Great.
Yep.
Yeah, we really want the service area managers to be the driving force. And I think it was more integrated. We had a little better perception of what we were doing.
Yeah.
And then we were just the support mechanisms for the service area managers to really design what they need in their service areas, because their roles are really very keenly rolled out. They know what they need to do. And then it's just how do we get it done? And to me, when I go back, I meet every month now with the county executive, the deputy county executive. And I always say to him, we know how to ask for money. I want to now show you how we know how to spend it wisely for the benefit of the taxpayers and the community. And so all of these formational documents help this demonstrate that. So this is demonstration of how we're using the taxpayers' money for the benefit of fire and emergency protection.
I imagine they're quite pleased at how efficient you are and we are.
I think so. I feel that there's tremendous support there, and that the advocacy with the county has been very helpful, and the deputy county executive could not have been more gracious or more engaging.
Yeah, that was probably the highlight for me.
Was
No offense. The food was great too, but yeah, having that engagement with him and him like really, I mean, asking very, very pointed questions about our work plans was pretty amazing. So I know a lot of other people really enjoyed it too. So that was a great opportunity for us.
But if you think of the demonstration of the pivot that the service area managers have of going from a Tuesday with 2.5 hour presentations to a Friday of the same week, where they have to digest it to key initiatives in 7 minutes and deliver it in front of an executive, that's amazing. But they have that capacity to do that, so.
Yeah.
So easy. Just kidding.
Well, and
It was good. It was good though.
I
Good
think you'll
thoughts,
see
yeah.
in Russ's presentation, the work plan's broken into 8 chapters. There's a lot of work in those 8 chapters. And if you look in the packet and you look at, and what is it, 13 FTEs?
No, we don't, though that's 13 we have approved, but
Oh,
we
yeah,
have
yeah.
7
How many?
full-time and about
forget.
5 part-time.
Yeah,
so-
okay, so maybe 12 FTEs, and you look at the
Yeah.
breadth of that work, it is a lot. It is a lot of work that gets completed and performed and improved and expanded.
So we have to be careful when we step from what we're doing right now and then say, oh, we're gonna do I-280. Oh, we're gonna build a fire facility. It's like, whoa, wait a minute, hold on. You know, there's a big hill to climb there to get there. And that's where our consultants, become so valuable to us and the ones coming on to help us, make that gap, to be able to jump into that next level of performance. Okay.
Could I share real quick?
Sure.
I meant to update Marcy's slide and I just uploaded the wrong file for you.
Oh.
I wanted to get a better picture of
Gracie.
Gracie. Corey
BB.
BB, and created Gracie the goat.
That's cute.
Our little,
You're gonna meet Gracie on the next commission meeting.
yeah.
So when the goats come, one of you will have to be in a Gracie costume. When the
Yes.
goats are out there in the field.
And with our staff, if you have a good idea, guess what you get to do? You get to do it.
Yeah.
That's a great
Thank you.
idea. Thank you so much. I'll make sure I write
The
you
brain of
down.
a goat.
Yes, that's.
Any public, before we move on, any public comments on this so far? Making sure.
No,
Okay.
no hands raised.
Great, thank you. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, President Spreen, members of the commission, members of the public, good evening. It's great to be able to introduce the work plan. I'm humbled to do so because this is really a product of the entire team. So I'm honored to be able to present it on their behalf this evening. My portion of the presentation really is just a tour of the work plan and really describing how it's organized and structured for the benefit of the reader and the benefit of the public. Looking at the work plan, it's organized as follows. There's an introduction. There's a service area chapter section, and under the service area chapter section, there is an overview. There's a budget by category. There are resources and budget detail. And then, of course, there's the work plans. At the end of the document, there are definitions. And I want to emphasize that the entire work plan is really underscored by the fiscal year 24-25 budget and service area budgets that were created this past year. With that, Corey, if we can go to the first slide of the work plan.
You'd like to pull up the actual work plan?
The actual work plan.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so this is the cover page of the work plan, and we put a lot of thought into this. It really illustrates a very important theme, and that is both, it has a focus on the community, of course, as always, but it has an underscored and heightened sense of regional benefit. This is, I think, most loudly exemplified by the I-280 project, a significant project that has regional benefit throughout. But also, if you look at the rest of the district programs, that is, of course, our fire response, fire and emergency response, the many district safety programs, IHFR, HIZ, Firewise, and outreach and education programs. We really wanted to exemplify that on the cover of this page. So this is V2, and we're glad to reveal it. Page 2, page 1. Is the introduction. And if you look at last year's work plan, it really did not change. So we were proud that we had a good forethought in not really having to change the descriptions here at all. But we do want to emphasize, as we mentioned when the first work plan was issued, that it really is a living document. And to kind of answer some of the question that President Spreen asked, what's changed, we did go into the work plans and we modified it and we adapted it to the new year, the new budget, the new initiatives, all in support of the work that the district does and the work that the county does and that we support the county with. So that is the introduction page. On page 3, this presents the service areas which were defined last year. And if you think about this from a private industry standpoint, you might think of service areas as departments or divisions, but I really like the term service area because it's a key focus on deliverables. For me, from a financial perspective, this has become a cornerstone of developing what I call an outcome-based budget, or a budget that puts resources where you want the outcomes to be placed. And it's really been critical from a budgeting standpoint and a resource development standpoint at all. In the document, as you view it in PDF format, you simply click on the blue service areas and then it quickly links to their actual section as well. And that's how that is organized. There's very few changes here, but we modified the text a little bit to be a little bit more clean, a little bit more descriptive. But the blue bars themselves, or the service areas themselves, have not been modified. They, in terms of length, they were 8 last year, and there are 8 this year. If we go to page 4. So page 4 is an example of what I call the overview for each service area. And I want to exemplify IHFR this particular year. So what you see here, and we hope that the public sees that this is an easy way to understand what our service area is. So of course you have the title of the service area, but under that, and what I would call maybe the blue buckets here with the graphics, it really describes the areas that IHFR takes on under these various divisions or programs. And it really is a description in brief of what IHFR works on. What's also important about this particular slide and presentation of the work plan is that it connects in the orange rectangular graphics, the connection to the strategic plan elements. So that is the overview page of the work plan. On page 5 is an example of budget by category. This again was in last year's work plan. And this in essence is what I call a budget in brief. So we don't have to look at all the detail of the budget, but if we categorize the budget and resources by expenditure category, you can see here how the budget is partitioned. And then it also lines out the various elements or vendor relationships that are associated with those budget allocations. So as you know, our budget is very lengthy. It's about 50 pages in length in its published form. This in essence gives you the IHFR budget on one page. And I want to mention also that this budget that you see, for instance, for IHFR, $4.37 million, exactly reconciles to the adopted budget that was adopted by the commission and adopted by the county. So there's a one-to-one alignment to the fiscal year 24-25 budget. What it does not include is the roll forwards. As you know, the county rolled forward a pretty significant $23-24 into 24-25. Those are available for expenditure, but we thought to keep it clean and aligned, what you see here is what was actually adopted, and the roll forwards will naturally flow in the next year for use. On the next page, for those who want to dig a bit deeper, this is the budget detail displayed here, and this is by line item. So really the accountants would love this page, if you will. It gives you a bit more detail, but it also helps the service area managers because they can see a little bit more prescriptive detail of their budgets and where the dollars are. In the case of IHFR, it's very significant, of course, because you see the key community projects outlined here. Of course, the chipping, the evacuation routes, the I-280. So it gives you that type of detail. I particularly like this page also because of the resource dependencies. If you were to take Eugenia's area, IHFR, last year and compare it to this same page this year, what you see is that we are certainly blessed with what the commission's resources have provided us and what the county is blessed through the adopted budget. You can see how the staffing now is fortified. You can see how the resources are fortified. If you look at the program dollars, you see that in total, if we compared fiscal year 23-24 to 24-25, there's over $1 million more in project-based budgets for this year. And you can see the big hitters are chipping, evacuation route, I-280. Of course, we go to the other areas, HIZ as well. But I think this one page in particular, and especially for IHFR, just reflects how far we've come in terms of resource alignment between outcomes, dollars, and then deliverables. And page 7 is, I think, this is the candle on the cake. Of course, it looks like an Excel spreadsheet, but from staff's perspective, this really addresses how service area delivery happens. So what you have here is an itemization of the project areas in categorical format, but also it outlines just how we're going to deliver them. So it talks about the project, it talks about the assignment to staff, it talks about the delivery dates, and it also talks about the potential target dates in the future and the team assignments as well. So this, in essence, is the work plan. So that is the completion of the work plan. I won't go through all of them, but that is the structure. You'll see it for all service areas. It's consistent throughout. That in essence is the presentation of the work plan. I want to also take this opportunity to say that there are many people to thank here. It really was a team effort involving every single staff member, not only the service area managers, but every staff member was involved in this process with the managers. And I do want to give a special thank you to Edgar Martinez. He has just been a yeoman this year in picking up the ball and helping all the service area managers and helping the entire team put this together. I know he's personally saved myself and Corey many hours of work in putting this together. And I just applaud him and I applaud all the service area managers. So with that, that's the unveiling of the work plan.
Russ, could you take us to page 47? Show them the program-based budget. So every one of the 8 chapters has this template in it. So it's 47 pages. The work plan is 46 pages. And then page 47 is the program-based budget. And just show them how it works.
Yes, and so the program-based budget, you've seen this before, commissioners. It was actually attached as an appendix to the adopted budget. But essentially, it may not work in this Zoom atmosphere, but if you click on any one service area, then you will get to the budget in a detailed format for each service area. And as you know, this particular year, with the approval of the technology dollars, we are in the process of redesigning our systems so that next year, not only will we have this service area budget in this summarized format, but we'll also have it integrated within our financial system so that when the managers spend their resources, they will look not only in total, but they will see it for their particular areas. So if we take, as an example, let's go down to IHFR, Corey, and keep on going. And one more. So you can see here on that IHFR page with the detail, Corey, you can see here that for IHFR, Eugenia has every single line item for her surface area budget. And what we will start developing with the new financial systems is each manager will get budget to actual for their areas and track their dollars based upon how they've spent it. So last year, we spent a lot of time with those service area managers building the budget. And because these budget dollars are theirs, they own them and they have oversight over them. This is what our dream is, to bring this to reality in the future financial systems. So with that is the presentation of the work plan, and we're open for any questions you have.
By the machine.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
So that's all in your agenda packet. The 46 pages of the work plan, each chapter is laid out the way that Russ just took us through one chapter, which is IHFR. And then at the back is the program-based budget. And then you can click in and out of that and then return to the home page. So we're trying to use the technology tools to make it as flexible as possible. And this is a tool used by all of the staff. So for example, I got a request from the team about private roads, fire access roads, private roads. And I said, well, what does the work plan say? And I went right to the work plan, read it, and then that form informed me to write the response in the email back. So we've got that one-for-one kind of, I guess, navigation from the work plan back to the staff. And then they all know about scope creep. So we watch that. I get questions on scope creep quite a bit. And now we all watch the cadence. So we're kind of using the technologies that are out there in the technology areas to also inform and make us, I think, a better government agency.
Especially when it's a virtual agency, you have to remember that this is a way to really keep the team together,
Yes.
because they don't have an office to do it with, so. Really very impressive. Any public comments on this?
Not seeing any.
Okay, any other questions or comments?
Yeah,
Please, man.
yeah, I noticed, Serena Rebiar is, on the call, and I'm just, glad to see her presence, and I'm just, was she part of this as well? I know she has quite a.
Russ, do you want to talk about
Background.
Serena's role in this, how you have her all throughout your work plan?
Serena, wasn't here for the entire work plan process, but I'll tell you, Serena has jumped in with both feet. She is helping us right now with audit. She's going to be helping us with budget. She's starting to develop standard operating procedures. She's going to help us looking at internal controls, documentation. I personally have worked with Serena for several years as well when I was with the city of Los Altos. And believe me, she's mixing it up really, really fast. And I'm so proud to have her on board as we speak. So Serena, welcome as well. And it's great to have you here.
But if you go-
Thanks.
If you go to the finance and IT work plan, which is chapter 8, and you open the work plan, you'll see Serena's name. It won't see her name. It will say project manager administration.
Okay.
Yeah.
good. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's very real time. The work plans are very real time.
Good. Thank you.
Sure, awesome. Any other comments or questions? Thank you all for your time, we
Good
appreciate it.
job, Russ.
Thank
Very
you,
good,
Russ,
thank
thank
you.
you, Serena, thank you, everybody. And let's see, next we will move on to item 9, let's see, 9. This is the ad hoc fiscal year 24-25 I-3 hybrid committee. We're going to discuss and consider the establishment of this subcommittee. Manager Logan, would you like to introduce this item?
I would indeed. Thank you, President Spreen. The commission has patiently awaited for this project, and funding is now approved by the county, and the commission and staff are geared up for the next steps of planning. The item 9 staff memorandum report presents the background for the project. It originated as a Cal OES FEMA grant application, and now we've merged it into an in-house multi-year project that is funded for $1 million this year in 24-25. To advance this large project, the district must develop the project plan, a projected schedule, and milestones. The milestones will include program and project design, establishing project goals, permitting, bidding, and starting vegetation mitigation work with the various IT rights of way and exits for on and off ramps. To begin the process, staff proposes the following steps. First, we need to finalize and update the I-280 project scope of services, and we need to use industry standards and format while retaining the project design and intent from the Cal OES FEMA Hazardous Mitigation Grant sub-application. And what happens there is we were very good at writing project scope for Cal OES FEMA, but then we don't have that anymore. And it's like, whoa, how do we write a scope now for the industry when we go out to bid? And what kind of words do we use that are going to get that kind of leverage and that kind of interest? So that's where we were kind of like, we don't know how to do that, but a gap, that was identified. So that's one of the situations we're in right now. We need to develop materials for the request for proposals, the RFPs, to select a technical services and construction management consultant for the project. We would like to collaborate with an ad hoc I-280 project subcommittee to support the development of the steps, the process, and the implementation of the project through June 30th of 25. So it gets us through the budget year, that's $1 million. Staff may engage Fryer and Loretta Engineering Consulting Services, F&L, to assist with the update of the project scope for services and the RFP process pursuant to the district's existing agreement with Fryer and Loretta for on-call engineering consulting services. And if necessary, consider future amendments to their existing contract. If F&L is engaged to support the RFP process, F&L will not be considered for any of these positions that we're going out to bid. Staff believes an ad hoc I-280 project subcommittee would be instrumental in assisting staff with these steps necessary to advance the project through the review of the project scope of services, the request for proposal process, and the development of the steps, process, and implementation of the project. Project subcommittee will collaborate with the staff, the city, county council, and Fryer and Loretta engineering consultants, and report updates to the Board of Commissioners and the public. The work of the proposed ad hoc project subcommittee would commence upon appointment and would terminate June 30th, 25. I recommend establishment of the ad hoc I-2A subcommittee, and that's the end of my report.
Yeah, thank you. Any comments on that? Any, okay idea?
Supportive?
Okay, Hearing that, in case I'm just gonna do straight, any public comment on that, just to make sure,
I'm not seeing any.
not expecting any. In that case, let me move sort of into 9B, which is, let me define that the focus of the ad hoc subcommittee will be to collaborate with staff and consultants on the development and implementation of the I-280 project and provides progress reports to this commission at future meetings. With an end date of June 30, 2025. As an ad hoc subcommittee, it will not be subject to the meeting rules required in the Brown Act. It would be made of less than a quorum of the commission, which is 3 or fewer members. If the commission is amenable to the creation of this committee, which it seems like it is, I would now accept volunteers for said subcommittees.
Warren
Alright.
volunteers.
McDonald volunteers.
Perfect. I think it's a perfect set. We'll start with that.
Okay.
If you need more, we'll get them for you. I think 2 will let you run efficiently and easy. Great. In that case, let's see. I need a motion, the commissioners to create this ad hoc fiscal year 24-25 I-280 project subcommittee with commissioners Warren and McDonald serving.
So moved, Tonka.
So seconded.
Great. Any discussion? Any public comments?
Seeing any?
Let's move to vote.
Okay, President Spreen,
Yes.
Commissioner McDonald,
Yes. I get to vote for myself.
Commissioner Tonka,
Yes.
Commissioner Tyson,
Yes.
and Commissioner Warren.
Yes.
Okay, and the commission has approved the creation of the ad hoc subcommittee with Commissioners Warren and Commissioner McDonald, serving with a count of 5-0 and 2 absent.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, guys. I hope it'll be very profitable for all of us, and thank you for being part of that. And moving on to item 10A, this is discuss and consider the establishment of an ad hoc budget subcommittee, which I think we do most years every year. This is for fiscal year 25-26. Financial consultant Vargas, please use this item.
Yeah, thank you, commissioners, and staff and consultants. So this is an annual process. I think we saw with the cadence that General Manager discussed earlier. This is sort of the first step in developing our year. So now we're going already into the 25-26 year. And what we are looking for, the recommendations tonight are we're going to be discussing establishing the creation of an ad hoc budget subcommittee for development of the fiscal year 26 budget of Los Altos Hills County Fire District. Subcommittee will have an end date of February 18th, 2025, which corresponds to the date of our February meeting where we approve the final draft that gets submitted to county. So then we're looking to appoint commissioners, again, less than a quorum, 1 to 3, to serve on the ad hoc subcommittee. And basically what the committee will do is they will meet with staff for discussion pertaining to the budget planning and development. You will authorize the general manager to direct staff and consultants to coordinate the budget process, develop an initial draft budget. The district budget subcommittee will meet or can meet in a public forum. Historically, it has. They will do a draft budget discussion and review prior to coming before the full commission. Only the full commission can take action. The budget subcommittee just reviews and helps with the development. Again, like I said, it's made up of 1 to 3 commission, and as an ad hoc subcommittee, it's not subject to the meeting rules required under the Brown Act. So also included in the packet is a budget calendar for fiscal year 26. I do want to point out, as we were putting this calendar together, that the budget hearings this year, the Board of Supervisors budget hearings, are the 16th, 17th, and 20th. And if we go with our normal meeting schedule of having the 3rd Tuesday of every month, that would be the 17th, which is before the Board of Supervisors approves. So they have to approve first, and then we officially adopt it. So when we create our meeting calendar that you will approve for 2025, we will be proposing that the June meeting be
Mm.
June 24th, the fourth Tuesday.
Okay.
And I did confer with legal counsel and that, no issue to do that. Wouldn't be considered a special meeting because we would be approving it in advance as part of the 25 calendar. And that is it for my report.
Great, well, in terms of discussing this, we do this every year. I think that, it's actually a much easier process now, given from when it was 5 years ago. I remember being part of that same subcommittee. I'm gonna jump in a little bit to say, I think that, in terms of taking this on, I will volunteer since I've done it the past few years and I've been part of that. And also I think Commissioner Basigi would also be a wonderful member of that. Even though he's not here, I would love to volunteer for that. So I'm just putting people forward. Anyone else wants to volunteer, that's fine, but I know you guys have just volunteered.
One a night's enough.
So, I just thought as part of my discussion, that's what I have in mind. If,
And if Commissioner Basigi is not willing or able to participate,
We can-
count me in.
appreciate,
I'll get it back up.
appreciate that. That sounds great. Okay, thank you. In that case, moving on to item B, just to repeat specifically, for the record, the focus of the ad hoc subcommittee will be to collaborate with staff in development of a draft Los Altos Hills County Fire District 25-26 budget for presentation to the commission at future meetings. As an ad hoc subcommittee, it will not be subject to meeting rules required in the Brown Act and will be made up of less than a quorum of the commission, which is 3 or fewer members. I will now take a motion from the commission to create the ad hoc budget subcommittee for fiscal year 25-26 with Commissioners Spreen and Basigi serving.
Warren so moves.
McDonald seconds.
Great. Any discussion? Any public comments on that?
Being any?
Like it, we'll take a roll call.
Can I ask though, real quick of county council, Ms. Jackson, if we're volunteering Commissioner Basigi, who's not here, if for some reason he cannot be on the subcommittee, Commissioner Tyson said that he would act as alternative. Does that need to be in the official motion?
I would put it this way, let's put the two here, if the CG, when we talk when he gets back, can't do it next month, I can bring it up as part of an ad hoc report, and I can ask for the volunteers, we always name someone else to it if it doesn't work out, so we don't have to make anything weird conditions on.
Gotcha.
tonight's-
Okay. Never mind then. Okay.
I think it's to just
Gotcha.
go with it and,
All right.
I hope you will, I will encourage him to, I think he enjoyed that, and, if not, we'll take that next month as a
Followed by-
administrative item.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I'm gonna take the roll call. President Spreen,
Yes.
Commissioner McDonald,
Yes.
Commissioner Tonka,
Yes.
Commissioner Tyson,
Yes.
Commissioner Warren.
Yes.
Okay, and the commission has approved the creation of the ad hoc budget subcommittee with Commissioner Spreen and Basigi serving a count of 5-0 with 2 absent.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Jim. Moving on to item 11, employee benefits. I think so. The executive, this is Human Resources and Strategic Planning Consultant Scott providing us a report.
Sounds for me.
Yeah.
Oh, when did you send that?
Yesterday.
Oops.
So this is just a brief update, again, on our progress. And I'll just, go ahead and jump in. As you recall, there were 3 benefit plans. EAP has been implemented. We now have implemented the QSARA, which is the Qualified Small Employer Health Reimbursement Account. And so at our planning meeting on the 23rd, we did a general training for the employees. And then the following Tuesday, we had completed all the legal review and sign off. And the vendor came in and did an orientation for employees. And that initiated the plan. They were able to, each employee went online, set up their own account. So it's sort of a self-service model. And they do everything online. And so employees have been submitting qualified health expenditures that they've made. They've been reviewed by the vendor, and the first payment, I believe, goes out tomorrow. So they've already processed the first round of payments as of tomorrow. And employees will participate as they need. And then if anyone gets stuck, they just contact the vendor. The vendor's been very responsive. And so we're pleased to have that in place. And then the third program is the deferred compensation. That one's a little more complicated. There are 2 vendors involved. Staff has already met with legal council who's reviewing this. Lots of really good review and comments and a few questions. So we're in the kind of the tail end of getting those addressed. I think we have a meeting tomorrow with county council also. And then we hope to then connect the council with the vendors to finalize the document so we can sign. And then we have plan document development, and then we'll roll it out to employees. So that one's proceeding. It's just a little bit behind the other plan.
Mhm.
So that is where we are. Oh, there we go. Any questions or comments? Okay.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Great. All right. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Any public comments on that? Make sure.
I'm not seeing any.
Okay, great. In that case, moving on to item 12, personnel. So this is General Manager Logan. Will you please present the personnel item?
Yes, thank you, President Spreen. Agenda item 12A is to approve the proposed project manager for risk reduction employment agreement and position description, which are included in the District Board of Commissioners agenda materials for this item. California Government Code Section 5495-3C3 requires the commission to orally report a summary of the proposed compensation before taking final action to adopt that compensation, here by approving the employment agreement. Key components of the proposed compensation are described in detail in the proposed employment agreement. The proposed at-will, part-time, temporary employment agreement is effective September 17th, 2024 to March 31st, 2025, and includes the following compensation. Wages, the proposed contract sets the rate of pay at $75 an hour. Total compensation during the term of the agreement shall not exceed $40,800. Benefits, under the proposed agreement, the position will receive certain benefits, including sick leave accrual of 1 hour earned per 30 hours worked, up to a maximum accrual of 80 hours. Accrued paid sick leave can be used beginning the 90th day of employment with no more than 40 hours used in any 1 year of employment. Uniform allowance of up to $1,000 for purchase and maintenance of specific items identified in the proposed agreement. The uniform allowance may be modified by the board president at any time if the need arises for specialized safety, hazard gear, or identification badges for up to an additional $500. The proposed employment agreement does not provide technology stipend, vehicle stipend, vacation, holiday pay, medical benefits, or retirement benefits. None of that is included. I recommend approval of the part-time temporary employment agreement, and thank you. End of my report.
Thank you very much. Any comments or questions? Any public comments online?
Not seeing any.
But any, great. In that case, let's have a, we just vote. We don't need to have a motion to vote.
Oh, yes.
Oh, no, I guess you need a motion, you need a motion a second for it.
All right, Tyson moves approval at 12A.
Second.
Thank you. And we'll move straight to the vote.
Okay. President Spreen,
Yes.
Commissioner McDonald,
Yes.
Commissioner Tonka,
Yes.
Commissioner Tyson,
Yes.
Commissioner Warren.
Yes.
Okay, and the motion passes 5-0, 2 absent.
Thank you so much. Moving on to item 13, commission member report. Item 13A is about the 4 commissioner terms expiring in December. If District Attorney Vargas, if you could provide a little report on this item.
Okay, thank you, President Spreen. So, as you noted, and in correction of what was published on last month's agenda, the 4 positions expire, the December 6th of 24, with the new commissioner terms beginning, December 7th of 24. These vacancies have been advertised. The last advertisement is scheduled to run on October 2nd in the Town Crier. Interested residents of Los Altos Hills County Fire District are required to submit an electronic application to the Office of the Clerk of the Board of Supervisors using the website link to the Santa Clara County portal provided on the agenda. That's a tongue twister. Santa Clara County District 5 Supervisor Submitting makes the appointment nominations, which are then considered for approval by the County Board of Supervisors.
Thank you very much. Is there any discussion on this item? Any questions about that?
I'm curious to know whose terms are expiring. If you're not saying that?
I vote that they can't expire.
Mine,
Joan, I think is.
Joan.
Kavita.
And Kavita, yeah.
Really? Why is yours different from mine?
I don't know.
Why would it be
Yeah, you can't go.
I
I'm
don't know when
sorry.
you guys got.
Just
first
getting
time
your
came in. Yeah, it became a council, but I don't know if if the slots that you got put into, those slots go differently from when you got it.
It says Steve, not you.
Yeah,
So, yes. It's on the website.
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, in that case,
But just to clarify, then the appointment is made by Supervisor Smitty.
Yes.
When does this term end?
December 31st.
His term ends December
Okay.
I know
31st.
for
yeah.
sure, because there were residents interested, and I'm glad he's making the.
So,
Mhm.
okay,
Yeah.
because you know what, there have been times
I had
where
thought,
sometimes there's several months delay, and so just, all right.
His staff stepped in and made sure that.
Okay,
yeah, I'm expecting things will happen pretty promptly in December around this item.
all right, good to know.
Any public comments on this item? Just make sure.
Not seeing any?
Okay, great.
Okay.
Any questions on this? Good. Okay, let's see, move on to item 13B, future agenda items. This is an opportunity for us to provide reports or any future agenda topics. Any comments from the commission? Not usually any public comments on this?
Not seeing any?
Usually, great. In that case, this is, moving on to item 13C. Notice that the next regular commission meeting is scheduled for October 15th. In person and hybrid in this same location, the Los Altos Hills Town Hall Chambers. Any comments on that? Everyone's planning on being here?
I may be out of town, but I'll know.
Great, okay. Any public comment on that schedule?
None?
Thank you. In that case, moving to 13D, which is the notice that there will be a Los Altos Hills City Council meeting October 22nd at the Los Altos Hills Town Hall Chamber at 6 p.m. Commissioners are encouraged to attend that meeting, where Los Altos Hills County Fire District and the town will be honoring Santa Clara County District 5 Supervisor Joe Simidian for his dedication and years of service in public office. Hope we'll see many of you there. Soon we'll see the two meetings. And this concludes December 17th, 2024 regular meeting of Los Altos Hills County Fire District. The meeting is adjourned at 8:27 p.m. Please stop and record.
Okay, goodbye.
Thank you, everyone, for.
Good night.
Goodbye, good night.